It was the time of the year again when I had to send off my husband to the airport. He works abroad as a professor at an international top university, and every 3 months in 1 year, he goes back home for a vacation and then he will return to the university. It is really tough for me, especially that I have to raise three of our children alone. Well, technically, I'm not alone because I have my mother in law with me, but that's another kind of tough for me. You heard it right. While my husband is working overseas, my mother in law and father in law live with us. They help me in taking care of the children as well as with other household chores. They have been a very good companion to me, but there were just times when my mother in law overpowered me and took control of the house, especially in terms of managing the finances and even in disciplining the children. On top of that, she kept on questioning my decisions and even the actions that I take inside the house. She told me that I am not a good mother and that I have bad parenting skills. Aside from that, she always says hurtful words towards me, and sometimes she can even be more violent. It has always been known to me that she harbored a deep rooted animosity towards me from the start. Her disdain seemed to seep into every interaction, poisoning the family dynamic. The voiceover called the attention of the passengers, so my husband stood up. "Well, that's my flight," my husband said in a very bittersweet tone. He looked at me and tears started to form. Oh, here we go again with the goodbye and I'll be back soon. Our children quickly hugged their dad and gave him lots of kisses. "Be good to mommy while dad is away, okay? I promise I'll buy lots of toys this time," he said as he ruffled each of the kids' hair. He went to me and hugged me, even gave me a prolonged forehead kiss. "Take care, alright? Call me as soon as you land." "You too. If you need anything, Mom and Pops will help you." I nodded as a response. I never told him about his mother's treatment towards me because I don't want him to worry, and I could still contain her behavior towards me, and it is still bearable, so I can hold it off. The voiceover echoed through the airport lobby once again. Our kids started to sob and I hugged them all, trying to calm them down. "Shh, Daddy's gonna be home soon, I promise." My husband gave them one hug and waved us goodbye as he walked towards the check-in area. Sadness and longing lingered in me once again, but I have to be strong for my family. We immediately went home, and as I was driving the car, I couldn't help but think how my life took an annoying and unexpected turn when my husband decided to work abroad and let his parents live with me because it was when tensions started to run high. As soon as we got inside the house, I heard a banging sound from the inside. I sighed and closed my eyes, taking in all the strength. This kind of commotion is not new to me anymore. A loud grunt was heard across the residence, so I hurried inside with my kids. I am so used to all this, but every time I hear my father-in-law scream in pain, it still hurts me. I immediately went to my in-law's room, and as soon as I opened it, I saw my father-in-law Greg sitting on the couch with him holding his hands. "You don't have to hurt me like that, Regine," he shouted at my mother-in-law, but his voice was so weak it didn't even stun his wife. "I told you to do your own laundry because I'm not your maid, you idiot." "Then you could have told me nicely." I looked around and all my father-in-law's clothes were scattered on the floor. My mother-in-law was still holding his arm. Maybe she held it so tight because I could clearly see her grip on his arm. "Nicely? What are you, 3 years old? Why would I ask nicely?" "It's called respect," I interrupted them. I walked directly to my father-in-law and checked his arm. He grunted in pain as I tried to touch it. "Oh, so you are here, lady in shining armor." "You are just as useless and stupid as my husband." I clenched my fist to control my anger. I controlled myself not to do anything that I would eventually regret. Regine's cruel treatment wasn't limited to just me. She directed her insults and disrespect towards my father-in-law as well, and every time I witnessed the pain she inflicted on him, it broke my heart. Whenever my father-in-law failed to do something, it seemed so easy for her to lay a hand on this poor old man. I helped my father-in-law to get up, and he shook his head as he looked at me. The dismay and disappointment on his face was so evident. "You two are a pain in the ass. If not only my son asked me to man his house, I wouldn't be here. I would be at a beach club living the best of my days. I have a husband who is as stupid as fuck and a daughter-in-law that is so dumb. Wow, what a life." She banged the table near her and walked out of the room. I tried to help my father-in-law with his injury and asked him about what happened. "What happened?" He heaved a sigh before answering.
"I was cleaning the car and she went angry after she saw me doing it. She told me that there are better things to do, like doing the laundry. She dragged me inside and scattered all my laundry to the floor."
My eyes frowned. The woman has a serious problem. Why would she get mad over something so random?
"I heard she asked Joe to look for a driver."
"But you always wanted to drive us around."
"I know, but your mother-in-law doesn't want me to do that anymore. I guess I'm useless now."
"No, you are not." The door opened and the kids ran to their grandfather. They checked up on him and promised me that they will take care of him. Amidst this cruelty, I am so glad to have such sweet and caring kids. I really want to tell my husband about everything, but I'm so afraid that it would affect him. And my father-in-law kept on insisting that I must not tell his son about this because he is worried that Joe would be distracted, especially that he is living away from us and all alone. That's why I try to keep headstrong despite everything. I went along with my mother-in-law's treatments. As long as she doesn't hurt the children, and fortunately, she loves them so much. The next day, my mother-in-law opened the door for a visitor. The man looks younger than me, probably in his mid-20s. He looks handsome, with a good build. She walked towards us and introduced him with a smile on her face. "Greg, Helen, and kids, meet Carlos, our new car driver." I just looked at them plainly. She never consulted me about this, and given that my father-in-law only heard this from my husband, made it clear that she doesn't intend on telling us about it.
So you're the driver my wife has been raving about?"
The driver smiled. "Pleasure to meet you, sir and ma'am." He looked directly towards me. I wasn't informed on having a car driver. Pops is still good at it. Wouldn't that be another financial liability?" My mother-in-law started to manifest anger again as she noticed my skepticism, but she tried to brush it off. "Oh, don't be so hard on Carlos. He is a hard-working and trustworthy man." She tapped her hand on Carlos's arm and even massaged it lightly. My eyes widened. Why is she being so touchy with this man?
"I hope you're right, Regine. I guess it's a break for me."
He turned to the kids.
"Will it be okay if Pooh-Pops won't drive you to school?"
The kids nodded, telling him that he needs to rest as well. Regine's flirtatious behavior with Carlos does not go unnoticed by me, and it completely added to my unending concerns. During dinner, I could feel that my father-in-law was skeptical about the new driver.
"Are you sure we can trust this guy, Regine? I can't help but feel uneasy about him."
I saw her roll her eyes at him. Can you stop being paranoid? I am doing you a favor here. You will get to rest because your loving daughter-in-law here treats you nothing like a driver. My eyes widened. That is not true. Oh, do shut up, dear. That commotion was another concern. I tried not to argue with her and spark a fight. I am so tired with all of that. And there's nothing we can do but to accept that we now have a driver. I tried to look at the brighter side. My father-in-law would get to rest and the driver can fill in his role. I just hope he is trustworthy enough. One afternoon, I was preparing snacks for the kids when they finally got home from school. My father-in-law was trimming the backyard's grasses. The driver went inside with them, so I offered him a snack as well. My mother-in-law followed them inside. She went with them as well because she decided to go for a jewelry shopping spree. I just couldn't bear looking at her wasting all the money, but it's hers anyway. It's none of my business. My mother-in-law was carrying 2 paper bags, so the driver immediately helped her and walked with her towards her room. It was so weird. Why is she allowing the driver to go inside their room? My father-in-law noticed it and went inside to grab some juice. He didn't say a thing and went to their room. I paid it no mind and started to prepare for dinner. I saw my mother-in-law leave the room humming to her heart's content while checking her jewelry in the backyard. After a while, the driver went out to the porch with my father-in-law following him, but little did I know that later that night the most harrowing incident was bound to happen. I was cleaning the kitchen when my mother-in-law stormed at me. She slapped me immediately and grabbed my hair. I screamed out of pain, but she pushed me down to the floor and kicked my leg, so I stumbled my face flat to the ground. I can't believe you stole my jewelry, Helen. How dare you betray my trust? What is she talking about? She held my hair tightly to raise my face from the ground. I didn't take anything, please believe me. Her anger intensified as she picked me up and backed me into a corner. She grabbed my arm violently. You think you can fool me? I won't let you get away with this. She accused me of stealing her precious jewelry. Consumed by her rage, she stooped to an unimaginable low, demanding that I strip naked so she could search for evidence. She grabbed my shirt and ripped it apart. She even scratched my neck. Where is my jewelry, you filthy ass bitch? I told you I don't have it. Please stop. It was a degrading experience that left me feeling violated and helpless. I tried to break free from her grip, but I was so overwhelmed by her aggression. She tried to rip my shorts apart, but suddenly the door swung open, revealing my father-in-law. In a twist of fate, Greg walked in on this horrifying scene. His eyes widened with shock and anger as he took in the sight before him. Without hesitation, he stepped up to defend me against his own wife's baseless accusations and threats. In that moment, I saw a glimmer of hope that someone in this family would stand up for me.
Regine, what's going on here?
She released me, as she was momentarily taken aback by my father-in-law's unexpected presence. Oh, shut the hell up, Greg. This woman stole my jewelry. I caught her red-handed. If you want to help her, just don't do it. You won't succeed anyway.
Regine, enough with these mistreatments. I can't believe you would treat Helen this way without any evidence. Have you lost your mind?
I certainly think that she lost her mind a long time ago. Regine smacked me out from telling the truth. I want all her nonsense to end.
Regine, this ends now. No more false accusations and abuse.
She just laughed at him as if nothing fears her. My father-in-law stepped between me and her, shielding me from further harm. Regine fumes in anger. If you defend her, Greg, I'll make sure everyone thinks she's seducing you. I'm your wife. You listen to me.
Ah, yes, the wife that always reminds me of being stupid and dumb. Regine, your threats won't work anymore. Your behavior has crossed the line. It's time to face the consequences.
Regine's face twisted with anger and frustration as she realized her power over me and Greg was slipping away. The aftermath of that pivotal moment was filled with tension and uncertainty. The family dynamic shifted, strained by the revelation of Regine's true color. Yet, amidst the chaos, the truth began to surface.
I saw Carlos walking out of your room, our own room. Are you having an affair with him, woman?
My eyes widened in shock. No, this isn't true. Regine looked away and still continued to act superior. What a baseless accusation! Same as to me. You accused me over something I didn't do, but mine happens to be true. I let go of her grip and sided with my father-in-law. My father-in-law Greg had long been aware of Regine's abusive behavior and couldn't bear to witness it any longer.
Do you want to hear the real truth?
He threw a bag of jewelry to the ground.
There's your jewelry. I made sure that I got that from the guy you are sleeping with.
Her eyes widened in complete, utterable shock. She clutched it and still her expression was unexplainable. My father-in-law discovered the real culprit behind the stolen jewelry. Carlos, the secret lover, the family driver. No, no way. Her voice trembled.
I also made it sure that I put him into custody. And don't worry, the authorities are on their way here for the evidence and, of course, for another case.
My father-in-law looked directly to her soul.
You!
She panicked and got up on his feet and held her husband's hands. Greg, what do you mean?
You're going down with him. You are not my wife anymore. You're a violent monster. You lied to me and you betrayed me.
You have hurt us in ways I couldn't imagine. You even sacrificed our relationship with an awful man who is double your age. The bruises in our bodies are evidence of your abuses. A siren hovered our entire street, and as the sound grew prominent, she started to panic. She knelt down and asked for forgiveness. Greg, Helen, please forgive me. I don't want to be in jail. Spare me, please. I will do anything. My brows raised from her last line. You will do anything? Okay. Get some help. The police barged in and handcuffed her, and the next thing we knew, she was detained. I informed my husband about everything. He went home immediately to help us face the aftermath of the problem. This revelation strengthened our case against Regine and exposed her web of lies. Bolstered by this newfound evidence, Greg made the difficult decision to file for divorce, seeking justice and protection for both me and himself. The legal proceedings are arduous, and the community's reactions varied, yet amidst the adversity, our family rallied together. Greg, my father-in-law, became a pillar of support, as did other family members who stood by us during this trying time. Their unwavering love and encouragement gave me the strength to speak out against the abuse, inspiring others to break free from their own chains. Finally, the day of reckoning arrived. Regine was convicted for her abusive actions, facing the consequences of her behavior. It was a bittersweet victory, a turning point that offered closure and a chance for healing. In the aftermath of Regine's conviction, our lives slowly transformed. The wounds began to heal, and we rebuilt our shattered relationships based on trust, love, and resilience. The journey to recovery wasn't easy, but we emerged stronger and more determined than ever before. Through this ordeal, I discovered my own strength and voice. I refused to be silenced by the shadows of abuse, using my experience to shed light on the issue and empower others to break free from their own chains. My hope was to create a ripple effect of courage and change, fostering a community that refused to tolerate abuse in any form. Though scarred by the past, our family found solace in knowing that we had overcome the darkness that once consumed us. Together, we forged a path towards a brighter future, forever transformed by the unwavering courage that brought us through the storm.